Hi everybody, it's Greg. How you doing? It's the first full week in April, April 7th to be exact. And we're about 3 weeks into this coronavirus shutdown. And about 2 weeks ago, when it was all fresh and new, I did a video from the car like this where I talked about which side will win the debate. The medical argument versus the economic argument. And since a couple weeks have gone by, we've had a shutdown, and a lot more information has come to light. I thought I'd do an update to that previous video and talk about who wins the debate, the medical versus the economic argument. Okay, so that's where we are. So let's take a ride. Yeah, so it's been about 2 weeks since I did the original video on this one. And just for those of you who didn't see that original video, I'm sure you've all been following along, having your lives completely impacted by this virus. And hopefully, if you're like most people, hopefully it wasn't impacted medically. It was only impacted economically, so you'll probably be a little bit biased when it comes to the different arguments. But just to recap, I was saying that in the previous post that there's a medical argument, and so far, and I think it's still true today, the medical argument, which is complete shutdown, view everything statistically by how many new cases there are. Look at that curve, so to speak, wait for it to peak, and then after it peaks and the deaths and the reported new cases are down, then we can start, then and only then. And some people are so extreme to say that even then we can't relax some of these requirements for people to stay home and completely shut down the economy. It'll have to go on for another couple of months, or else we'll have a relapse. But many people are saying, once that curve flattens, we can start to, reduce the stay-home requirements, open up some businesses, still keep social distancing and all that, and precautions, but we can relax some of this, some of these shutdown requirements that we've had. Okay. And then, of course, the economic argument says that, this is a dangerous virus. We recognize that, but is it worth completely shutting down the economy and potentially going into a recession and then potentially a depression? Okay, is it worth something that, when you look at the actual cases, not the reported cases, because that's only the sickest people that actually get tested, but also the people that, when you include the people that don't get that sick and don't get tested, or the people that are completely asymptomatic, when you include that entire population, the infection rate or the death rate, the rate of serious cases is so low relative to the population that, is it worth putting everybody through this downturn and complete, in some cases, destroying people's lives over this, as opposed to just the normal quarantining that you see in the flu or other highly infectious diseases. Okay, now I'm discussing this in the context of, I'm not a medical person. I was a pre-med student in college, but that doesn't qualify me to really have much of a medical opinion. I can really just approach this from common sense and from a observational standpoint. Okay, first of all, and nothing that I say in this video is to in any way minimize what's going on out there, right? Because if I knew anybody that died from this or got really sick from this, I'd probably have a different view. But I think I'm like most people, at least most people that I've talked to. Number one, I don't know anyone who's died from it. Okay? Number two, I don't even know anybody who's gotten it. Okay? And that could mean that I just never, I've only been dealing with asymptomatic people or talking to asymptomatic people. But as far as I know, I don't even, and I live in New Jersey, which is supposedly, the epicenter of what's going, well, New York's the epicenter. We're like the mini-me epicenter of the virus. So, I don't know anyone who's died from it. I don't know anyone who's even gotten it. But yet, my life and the lives of everyone around me have been enormously impacted. Okay? I work in the real estate area, and my clients that own property are, massively impacted. All of the tenants are massively impacted. The economy's in complete shambles. And even though today, when this is recorded, the stock market is up, I think it's massive short covering the last 2 days, Monday and today. The market was up enormously yesterday, and it's up again today. I think this is short covering because there was some glimmer of hope in New York that the curve is flattening. But once this short covering is over and companies start reporting in the next few weeks, I think once people realize the impact this has had on the economy, it's going to be grim again in the stock market. There's probably going to be another round of sell-offs. So anyway, the question really is, how far do we take this on the medical side? How far is the American public willing to go? Keeping in mind that most people have probably not been directly affected by this medically, meaning that no one they know has had it, or if anybody they know has had it, they haven't gotten that sick, or nobody has died that they know. So in the context of that, because percentage-wise that's most people, how long is American society going to allow its government to bludgeon the economy and their lives with a blunt instrument in such a way that the economy is destroyed and their lives are ruined? Okay? That's really the question. My personal opinion is that if the curve starts to flatten out and things start to look like they're improving, and the government doesn't lift some of these restrictions, there's going to be an extreme negative reaction by people against that. And, I think it'll get to the point where there will be civil disobedience, there will be, maybe even rioting in the streets. I don't know. I'm not an alarmist type person, but I mean, if you think about it, there comes a point where people are just going to say, look, enough is enough, all right? I understand what the medical profession is saying, but at some point, rationality has to come into the picture, okay? And, how many jobs and how many people's lives are going to be dramatically impacted? And if you think about it, this doesn't affect the professional or the elite classes of this country as much as it does working class people. Okay, working class people are the construction workers, they're the waitresses, they're the bartenders, they're the service people, and these are the people, restaurants and stuff like that, who have been severely impacted. That coupled with the small businesses, And I also did a video a week or so ago about the CARES program, the $350 billion that's coming out of the stimulus package, or the recovery package, whatever you want to call it, the $2 trillion package that Congress passed. There was $350 some odd billion set aside for small businesses to reimburse them for operating expenses, including salaries of their employees. And now we're seeing, at the time of this video, we're seeing the rubber meet the road on that deal, and seeing how cumbersome it is for the SBA to get that money actually into the hands of people, within a reasonable time frame that can actually, help them. And I have some clients who are, very bearish on the belief that the government's going to be able to pull this off with the SBA, in a meaningful time frame. Meaning the money is needed right now, and how long is it going to take to get this money out? That's really anyone's guess. But the government obviously had best intentions with this thing, and I think it's great that they passed it, but we'll have to wait and see what the reality is as to how quickly they get it out, and to how insufficient the $350 or $60 billion is to address the problem. That's also another issue. Okay? So, I guess my conclusion on the who will win the argument, I think eventually, while the medical argument has thus far won the argument, I think we're going to get to the point very soon, particularly if it looks like that curve is flattening out in New York, which it looks like it's starting to do. We're going to see enormous pressure on the state and local governments and the federal government to loosen things up, to get businesses going, and to get people back to work. I mean, that's my feeling. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd be really interested in people's views on this. It's a very hot topic right now. And so let me know what you think. If you like this content, smash the like button, and please subscribe to the channel. I'm having and going to have kind of a wide variety of topics: business, investment, and real estate, all in the context of the digital age. So there'll be some issues that will be related to business and digital business. So keep an eye out for future posts. And as I'm turning here, I'm getting close to the office where I'm going. Hopefully I won't get in trouble for doing this. So I want everybody to stay healthy, stay wise, and we'll get through this thing. And when we get to the other side, hopefully the economy will blast off and the stock market will go straight up to where it was before. Okay? Take care, guys. See you again soon.